seek to stay progress.
This is Ted DiBiase, the $1 million man.
Hey, this is Bob Backlund. Hey, everyone, this is Rick Stanley.
This is the Honky Tonk Man, the greatest WWE Intercontinental Champion of all time.
This is your wrestling show, Ottawa.
Heck, they could use you guys over in WWE.
You're listening to the greatest wrestling show in the whole wide world.
This is Wrestling with Ideas.
Welcome back inside the CKDJ studios right here for Wrestling with Ideas on CKDJ 1079, Ottawa's new music. I am the music man, Colin Scully, and back alongside me this week.
Let me tell you something, sir. I am here today to represent my client, the man with no excuses, Jonathan Skuse. So if all of you listening would please put your hands together for the man with no excuses. Here he is. Hey guys, what's up?
I didn't know where you were going to go with that. I thought you were going to bring something
My client.
Yeah, that was an interesting segment on Raw with macing Roman Reigns there.
Yes, it was.
And then the bit in Samoan. I couldn't figure out. I was trying to look it up, but I couldn't backplay it enough and spell it right to figure out what he was actually saying.
Yeah, but wow, Paul Heyman can speak Samoan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you ride with Afa and Sika.
Yeah, I guess they talk about Paul behind his back, and he kind of wanted to know what's up.
Yeah, exactly. But we do start off this week with some sad news to report. It was announced back on Sunday that one of the last remaining survivors of the Hart Foundation has passed away. Of course, we're talking about Jim the Anvil Neidhart. He did pass away at the age of 63. It was later reported by John's best friend Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer that his death was due to a fall resulting from a grand mal seizure stemming from the complications of Alzheimer's disease that he had been suffering from for some time. Now, John, you've been watching wrestling for a lot longer than I have, considering the age discrepancy here.
Yeah.
What are your memories of Jim the Anvil?
Well, I'm a little out of left field, so there's some stuff that people try to forget that I remember. I remember when Jim Neidhart had that infamous gimmick when he was called Who.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they said, "Who's coming to the ring?" And they said, "No, it's him." And it's like, "No, who's coming to the ring?" I also remember, I don't remember the original Hart Foundation very well, but I do remember in the Attitude Era when it was a 5-man gang with Brian Pillman, Davey Boy Smith, Owen Hart, and Bret Hart. I do remember that era of Jim the Anvil.
Yeah.
He was. I vaguely remember when he won his first or second tag team championship. The one he won with Owen, I think.
I know which one you're talking about. I can't remember what card it was on, but
yeah,
it was definitely a good match.
To say that there are no memories of Jim Neidhart would be a lie, because wherever Bret Hart went, and the Hart Foundation kind of went with him or behind him, and Jim was there. For those of you who don't know, Jim the Anvil Neidhart is the father of current WWE superstar Natalya.
Right. Now, Natalya, moving over, we're going to be talking about Jim the Anvil. In the last segment of today's show, we're going to be doing a little ranking of our top 5 favorite matches collectively. But mentioning Natalya, she's going to be in the corner of Ronda Rousey this Sunday at Summerslam. And I thought, what better thing to start off the show today with than to go through the card for Summerslam, as this is the Go Home Wrestling with Ideas before Summerslam. What better way to start off this week than to give our predictions as well as what we think is going to be happening during the matches.
Well, Scully, it's the biggest party of the summer, except we don't call it that anymore. It's just the largest event of the summer.
Because you can't call things party.
Because give me the green light and I'm ready to go. Oh, wait, that was WrestleMania's theme. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to start off our predictions with the Raw Women's Championship. As aforementioned, we have Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey. Scully, who's in whose corner?
Alexa Bliss has Mickie James in hers.
Oh, Mickie James? Is it Alicia Fox or is it Mickie James? Because she's been paired up with Alicia Fox now.
Is it Alicia Fox?
I have no clue. That's why I'm asking you, man.
I have got no clue either.
It doesn't affect my prediction,
Both
though.
of them, maybe? Yeah, no, same way. I'm assuming you want Ronda to win?
No, I think Alexa Bliss is going to retain, and I think it's going to be the time that Natalya turns on Ronda.
Interesting.
I don't think that they're going to give Ronda the title
Are
yet.
they going to have Natalia on the card a week after her dad dying?
Oh, well, I know she wasn't on Raw. If she doesn't show up, they'll find somebody to be in Ronda's corner.
Yeah. Who goes into Ronda's corner?
If there is a Mickey James, maybe Alicia Fox.
Into Ronda's corner.
Yeah, into Ronda's corner. If Mickey James is in Alexa's corner and I'm mistaken, then I'd say Alicia Fox is probably in Ronda's corner.
After Ronda beat the crap out of her 2
Yeah.
weeks ago?
Or they were kind of hinting at Ember Moon this week, so maybe it would be her too, because she doesn't have a match at SummerSlam that I'm aware of.
Okay. That could be interesting. So yeah, we both think that, or no, you think that Alexa's going to retain.
I think Alexa's going to retain. I
I'm
don't
gonna-
think I'm going to be very happy about it, but I think that Alexa's going to retain.
No, I'm the same way, except for the fact that I think that Ronda is going to win.
You think now is the time for Ronda?
Yep, and then that's going to build up to a match at the Evolution pay-per-view.
Ooh.
Where I'm gonna give a little spoiler into this, right?
Yeah,
Champion versus champion.
that's a good safe bet.
Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. Unification match.
Ooh.
WWE Women's Championship.
I don't know about that. That is a good idea, though. I'm not going to discredit that. That is a great idea.
This is not the fantasy booking show.
No.
That's for later.
That is a good idea. I like that idea, but mine's going to go a little different. As we move on to the SmackDown Women's Championship, we have Carmella in a triple threat versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte. I think the title's coming off of Carmella now. She's got no excuse. She's got nobody to partner up with. Ellsworth is out the door unless he comes back. I think that Becky Lynch is going to win the title for the same reason that you said. I think they're going to put Ronda versus Becky at Evolution,
great.
I should say, and it'll be the armbar versus the armbar.
Or the armbar versus the disarmer.
And even if you are not a big fan of either of those two, they are credible workers, and especially Ronda, she can go, and you put her in the ring with somebody like Becky, and I think Becky's going to get her women's championship here at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And it'll just be a fun match. It won't be super high stakes for Ronda. But if they do your idea and they unify the whole division, that'll be pretty cool.
Well, yeah, I just think it makes sense to have sort of, because I think you'll agree with me when I say that there's too many belts right now. And the fact
they could lose a couple.
If they want to add, I just find that it'd be weird if they add the women's tag team championships, and they have that as like an inter-brand championship, but they have separate.
And it
women's
could be
championships for Raw and SmackDown.
Who knows? Maybe down the line they do want to do like a bi-weekly women's show, like not every week. Like keep your women on Raw and SmackDown, but the women would get together maybe bi-weekly and have a show or something.
That's
like
how
that.
I have it set up on my WWE universe. Actually, is I have
The women's have a bi-weekly show or a weekly
they have
show?
a weekly show.
Yeah.
Because you can't do bi-weekly shows, but you
Can do weekly, yes.
can do weekly. So I have it so that it's Raw, SmackDown, and then I got rid of NXT. Actually, I split them into Raw and SmackDown, and then I have the women's show.
Anybody who's getting mad at Scully, just bear in mind that the game is called WWE 2K18 and not NXT 2K18.
Thank you very much. Moving on.
Speaking of somebody who came up in NXT and a guy who came up in the real world, next match on the predictions card is Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. Scully, who are you taking in this match?
This one is actually an interesting one that I have on my end here. I'm a fan of both of these guys in ring and outside the ring. I'm a fan of Daniel Bryan's work as the GM. I'm a fan of Daniel Bryan's work all the way back to when he first came to WWE after spending so much time in Ring of Honor and New Japan. Was he ever in New Japan? He wasn't in New Japan.
All Japan, maybe.
All Japan. He was in Japan at some point training with somebody. But with all this being said, I give the win to The Miz.
Yeah, I'm giving this win to The Miz, but the only reason I think The Miz is going to win at SummerSlam is because it's going to be a long feud. I don't know if it's going to kill it like our Jinder Orton feud, if it's going to be that long, but I do think that we are going to get Daniel Bryan versus The Miz at SummerSlam with The Miz going over. Then we're going to have a secondary, not super important pay-per-view, like not the big four, I should say. And then at the next one, maybe Survivor Series or WrestleMania, we'll have the final Daniel Bryan versus The Miz confrontation with Daniel Bryan going over. Yeah. But at SummerSlam, I think it's going to be The Miz getting the one up on Daniel Bryan, especially with how Miz and Mrs. is going and everything like that. Yeah. I think WWE is going to give The Miz a nice pat on the back, and he's going to get the win at SummerSlam.
Right. Now, This match is going to definitely be interesting here. We've got the Intercontinental Championship match. Dolph Ziggler, current Intercontinental Champion, of course, facing Seth Rollins. Now, there was an interesting return this past Monday on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, if you were watching Monday Night Raw, you'd know that Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler, the feud for the Intercontinental title, is still going on strong, and that Dolph Ziggler seems to have Drew McIntyre in his corner. And in order to combat this, Seth Rollins had an old buddy who's going to be in his corner at SummerSlam, and it ain't Roman, folks.
Nope. It's the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose.
He's back, and he's bigger than ever. He's got some muscle on him. He put on some weight. He shaved his head he's got a different kind of look. And we're going to see how it happens with Seth Rollins with his old buddy Dean in his corner. But I think, for my prediction, that Dolph Ziggler will retain the Intercontinental Championship because I don't think they're going to keep this chaos. And I think it's going to be a DQ finish where Dolph Ziggler retains. I don't know. Maybe Seth Rollins will win via DQ. But I'm pretty sure at some point this is going to turn into a tag team brawl, 2 versus 2, maybe with Dean turning on Seth in the end.
See, I as well think that Dean is going to turn on Seth, but I don't think it's going to be in the end. I think it's going to be at SummerSlam. Picture this for a second.
No, I meant like at the end of the match.
Oh, at the end of the match. I thought you meant at the end of the feud or something.
No. I'm pretty sure
Okay.
I meant to say that Dean was going to turn on Seth. Seth would retain, and then they'd have their little brawl, and then after the brawl, Dean would kind of give the crazy eyes to Seth and maybe hit him with a chair or something.
Okay. See, what I was thinking was Seth Rollins is going to win the belt here, and then Dean Ambrose is going to come in. They're going to all celebrate and stuff. Before Dean Ambrose rips the belt from Seth Rollins' hands, crowns him in the back of the head with it, holds it while standing over Seth Rollins. Thus, we have an Intercontinental title feud between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.
See, I'm agreeing with you because that does make the most sense. But I know this isn't a fantasy booking show. That's still coming up. But if I was in charge of this feud, I wouldn't have Dean turn on Seth until I get my Monday Night Raw 3-man band versus the Shield match. Because Jinder, Heath, and Drew are on Raw. Seth, Dean, and Roman are on Raw. Every other recent stable has been split up except for Sanity and the New Day, and they're on SmackDown. I think if I was in charge, I want to see this 3-man band versus the Shield match, even if it's a one-off squash.
Where does that happen? Does it happen on Raw? Does it happen on a pay-per-view?
If I was in charge of it, I would put it at Survivor Series.
Okay.
But even if you want to do it on Raw to build up the 3 members of the Shield.
You know what you could do? Is you could have it be a 5-on-5, right? Where you'd have, listen, you'd have 3-man band, Dolph Ziggler, and, why am I blanking right now? Rhino.
Yeah.
Rhino?
Rhino is with Heath Slater, yes.
Rhino, Dolph Ziggler, and 3MB.
Yep.
Versus the Shield with...
The B team?
No.
Ah.
With honorary members, Kurt Angle and Triple H.
Ooh, I wouldn't put Triple H in the Shield, man. I wouldn't do it.
They did it.
I know. I still wouldn't do it.
Okay. Anyway.
But yes.
Moving on to stuff that they shouldn't have done in the first place, we've got the United States Championship match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, I think this is going to be not a swan song bomb, but just a swan song for Jeff Hardy. This is going to be not his goodbye, I'm at the door forever, but see you soon, guys. I'm going to go get some surgery. I think that
Go
Shinsuke
get some surgery and
Nakamura...
come back as Brother Nero.
Yeah, I think Shinsuke Nakamura is going to retain. Whether that is from the help of an RKO out of nowhere or not, I'm not too sure, but I have Shinsuke Nakamura retaining the U.S. Championship.
No, this is interesting for me, though, because if Jeff Hardy's gone after this, you're left with Shinsuke and Randy Orton.
Yes.
These guys are both heels.
Yes.
Are you saying that they're going to do a heel versus heel feud?
Yep.
Okay.
In 2018 on SmackDown.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. Now, what do you have for this one, Excuse?
Well, the next match we have is going to be the match for the Money in the Bank briefcase. If Braun Strowman loses in any way, even disqualification, Kevin Owens gets the Money in the Bank. But here's the thing. I have my fantasy booking answer, and I have my real answer.
Give me both answers.
All right, short answer for shortest first, real answer. Braun Strowman wins. He runs over Kevin Owens and then cashes in at the end of the night. But my fantasy booking answer is that Kevin Owens wins the briefcase, gives the briefcase back to Braun Strowman in a head-scratching kind of moment, and then we realize that Kevin Owens doesn't want the briefcase. He wants the contract inside the briefcase. So we have it set up that later on in Raw, that Braun will cash in his Money in the Bank on Raw the next night. And when the ref opens up the briefcase and sees that the contract isn't inside, Kevin Owens walks down to the ring, shaking a piece of paper over his head, cashes in, new Universal Champion on Raw. That's my fantasy booking answer. Short answer for what's actually going to happen. I bet it's going to be just Braun running over Kevin and cashing in at the end of the night successfully.
The thing is, in 2018, your fantasy booking answer sounds like something that could legitimately happen.
I like that. Just the concept that it's not about the briefcase. It's about what's inside the briefcase, but it's been overlooked for so long. I don't think we've even seen the briefcase open up since Seth Rollins held it and Dean Ambrose put that goop in there.
Right, yeah, I don't think it's ever happened other than that.
Like, that's the last recent memory I've seen what's inside a Money in the Bank briefcase. So I think that'd be a cool angle to play.
Right. I'm going to combat that. I'm going to say Kevin Owens, here's what's going to happen. Here's my fantasy booking answer and also my real answer for this. At SummerSlam, you've got Kevin Owens who's outside. He's shaking and whatever. Pulls out a chair from the ring. Pulls out a chair from under the ring, right?
Yeah.
Throws it. He gets in the ring with the chair. Smacks it on the mat. Falls down, but as he's falling down, he throws the chair to Braun Strowman as the ref is distracted.
A la Eddie Guerrero.
A la Eddie Guerrero. And then Braun Strowman does like the, oh crap, what the hell is this kind of thing where he's got the chair in his hand. The ref sees him. He disqualifies. Kevin Owens wins the contract.
Yep.
Then later on in the championship match, whoever wins gets beaten by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens. My prediction at the end of the night, overall, Kevin Owens leaves SummerSlam as a Universal Champion.
That'd be very interesting, and I'm just going to quickly conspiracy tie this all together before we hit a commercial break. But I think that if you remember correctly, when Damian Sandow won Money in the Bank, he lost the briefcase to John Cena, correct?
Yep.
When Kevin Owens came up, who was his first feud?
John Cena.
Who's Kevin Owens facing at the Sydney, Australia show?
John Cena.
Ties in, doesn't it? Kevin Owens being like John Cena for a Kevin Owens-John Cena feud too?
Oh!
Kind of conspiracies together.
Tying conspiracies together, and we've also got to tie this into a commercial break. So when we come back, we're going to tie the second half of the SummerSlam card together. You're listening to CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music.
Hey, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and you're listening to Wrestling with Ideas. Listen and learn and wrestle with ideas.
Welcome back inside the CKDJ studios right here for Wrestling with Ideas on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music. I myself, of course, am the music man. Alongside me, the man with no excuses.
Good God, I love it, pal.
Are you going to love this next tag team match, which just happens to be for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship between the Bludgeon Brothers and the New Day?
Yeah, so here we are at SummerSlam. We got our Bludgeon Brothers versus New Day. I don't know what number of times this is that these two teams have went head-to-head. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. If I had to go out on a limb here, I'd say the Bludgeon Brothers retain because I don't think SmackDown knows what they're doing with their tag division right now. I think the New Day's going to be...
The main roster doesn't know what they're doing with their tag division.
Exactly. I think the New Day's going to be splitting up soon, too, so that leaves an even bigger hole in the mess of the tag division. But I think Bludgeon Brothers retain.
Vince, if you're listening, which I highly doubt that you are, but if you ever hear this and it's before the New Day break up, and they do end up breaking up, push Big E.
Big Elefante, man. He's the future.
Yeah, you should just have him call
Kofi's
him Elefante.
Even ask Booker T. Kofi Kingston is the guy, and he has done it here in the WWE.
Yeah.
But Big E is the guy who is going to get it done in the WWE.
Right.
And Xavier Woods, I see a nice mid-card for him.
Yeah.
He can go. He's got his up, down, WWE affiliated YouTube gaming channel.
He's got his up, down, and he's Kofi's also got the Midnight Hour.
It's true.
They're the exact same move.
But they call him differently. But I think, who are you calling for this match? Bludgeon Brothers or New Day?
Depending on which members of the New Day fight.
You say if Big E's in it, they're winning the belts again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because let's face it.
They're going to push Big E?
Yeah.
I don't know. Would you push Big E when Keith Lee is just around the corner?
Yes. Push Big E, have him be up there, and then Raw, like another, this is turning into more of a fantasy booking show. Raw after Mania, let's say 37, hypothetically.
Yeah.
Okay? You have Big E at the top of he's probably going to have the
Whichever
WWE
brand he's on.
they're not going to give him the Universal Championship.
They won't
Probably
give him a heavyweight title, but he'll be at least a number one contender.
Yeah. No, he will. He'll have won it at Mania. 37.
So you're saying that he's going to be the champ after Mania, and then we're going to see Keith Lee
come up as there's nobody, because he's beaten everybody Big E has to get to this point. He's beaten everybody, yada, yada. There's no one else left. Out comes Keith Lee.
Hypothetical question. Big E is a heel or a face?
Heel.
Alrighty.
Moving on to the... sorry. I have a perfect segue for this, just like I had it in Raw.
All right, let's
my Raw review.
rewind.
B team, go, going straight into the Raw Tag Team Championship match between the B Team and the Revival. John, I haven't had you on air since the B Team debuted their new theme.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it. I like these battle scars. I don't like this B Team, go, but I do like the B Team, and I think they're going to retain. I'm happy to see that the Revival is in the title picture and that maybe later on they'll win the belts. Yeah. But I think as of right now, they're going to go with the safe bet. People like the B Team, and I think the B Team's going to win.
I'm going to go the same way. I think the B Team are going to retain. The one I can't say what I was going to say just now.
The mind scramble.
Thank you. Sure, yeah. Is because I'm a bit of a music nerd. That's, of course, why I call myself the Music Man. But it pains me to think that the people that CFOS, the guys that put together Battle Scars, also put together this new B Team theme.
Makes you wonder if one of those themes was for somebody else that didn't get used. Because I don't know if you've heard this, going off track on this Wrestling with Ideas a little bit, but AJ Styles' current theme song was originally meant for James Storm. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but yeah.
So I was wondering if it was kind of like that deal where they had a song written for somebody and they didn't use it, and they gave it to the B Team, and then now this is what they wanted for the B Team, even though what was before was better.
Yeah, I don't know. Was there any rumors of were there any rumors of somebody coming over around the time that the B Team became a thing?
I don't know. It could be, because as WWE is getting aware of these All In and all that kind of stuff, they're making scrambles to get people, so maybe they have some music written for people before they come here.
There were rumors as well, just getting off track before we
talk about the Cruiserweight Championship.
And Finn Balor versus Corbin, but let's face it, Finn Balor's going to win that, so we don't even really need to talk about that.
Balor Club goes over, pal.
Yep. There are rumors as well that Pentagon and Rey Fenix were pulled from their TV tapings this very weekend.
Yeah.
Because
was this the weekend that Matt Riddle was also pulled from?
Yes.
Okay.
They were all pulled from the same MLW show.
I did not know that they were interested in Phoenix. I'm not familiar with Phoenix's work myself, so I didn't do any research into that, but that would be cool.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to pull, because they're brothers, hypothetically. Yeah. They're brothers, so
they're a package.
Bring one over, bring the other over, right? Anyways, this one's the match that I'm actually questioning the most.
Yeah, I've been only catching up a little 205 Live, so my Cruiserweight's rusty, but I know what's going on. We've got Cedric Alexander, the champion, versus, as his old pal Enzo would call him, Gabagulak.
Yeah. Now, I watch 205 Live quite consistently, actually. I don't understand what they're doing with Lucha House Party, but that's a completely different story.
I don't know what they're doing with Leo Rush.
Neither do I. When they first aired Leo Rush's promos, right, I thought he was English for a second.
Yeah?
Like, I thought he had...
I missed those, so this is all new to me.
Okay, anyways. Who do you have winning this?
Man, as much as I want Drew Gulak to win because he has the perfect gimmick for 205 Live, I think Cedric Alexander's going to retain. Yeah. I think Buddy Murphy will be the next 205 Live champion.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see Drew Gulak win. Prove me wrong, WWE.
Yeah. I'm going to go the same way, really. Drew Gulak would be a good champion, but he'd be more of a transitional champion, I think.
Yes. But I'd love to see him as champion just because his gimmick as, I'm not into that flippy Dave Meltzer stuff.
Yeah.
no-fly zone, pal. Speaking of no-fly zone, or not speaking of no-fly zone, the match on the kickoff card, that doesn't fly. There we go, I tied it up. We've got a kickoff show match between Andrade Cien Almas and his tag team partner of who, Colin?
Zelina Vega.
And Rusev with his tag team partner of who, Colin?
Lana.
On the kickoff show. And I don't know. I really don't know. Rusev was just the number one contender. Now he's back down to the kickoff show. Now, I think this is more of a Lana thing than a Rusev thing, if I have to be honest.
Yep.
Because she's still a little green. She knows what she's doing, but she's still a little green. And Zelina is not.
Yeah.
And this will be a thing that I think they're trying to get Andrade over. Another, just like the Cruiserweight match. I think Andrade's going to win, but I want to see Rusev win.
Really?
But I think they're going to give Andrade the win.
Now, here's the thing, is that when Andrade, he came up, when did he come up? Was it after
It was
Mania?
it was a couple weeks after Mania.
A couple weeks after Mania, so they've had enough time to build him up to be something.
And they kind of have. They've only built him up to about a solid mid-card position.
Right.
But they have built him.
Yeah. I think that they could have done a lot more with him.
Oh, it's not over, though. I watch.
No. Don't get me wrong.
Next U.S. champ, right here, Andrade Cien Almas. I'm calling
Do you see
it.
them running the same program that they did with Alberto Del Rio?
I sure hope not.
Yeah.
Because I don't like Alberto at all.
Does that mean the return of Ricardo?
No, it just means Zelina Vega is the new Ricardo.
Yeah, we're gonna see her. We could see her competing in the Women's Royal Rumble, coming out in that car that Ricardo did back in 2012 or 2011 or whatever year it was.
God, I love it, pal.
Yeah. Anyways,
That's
now,
all the announced matches for now. Do you think we're gonna get any matches? You have a match that
we
you
haven't
would put in.
talked about the most important match.
No. We're going to get here first because this is what I was trying to say before I was so rudely interrupted, was that I don't see Elias on this card. And Scully, as the Music Man and as Elias's number one fan, what do you think Elias is going to do at SummerSlam?
Nothing.
Is he going to be there?
No.
Oh, very interesting. I've heard rumors that they're pushing SummerSlam to be almost a 7-hour show. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Elias at some point.
Right.
To fill in some time. I don't know what he's going to do. Maybe a concert, and then he's going to be interrupted by Bobby Lashley, and I'm going to leave.
Yep.
But, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Elias at SummerSlam. Now, the two big grapefruits of SummerSlam, so to say. We're going to start things off on SmackDown with the WWE Championship. Who we got?
We got AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe.
What a match. If anybody has seen anything these two have ever done while even looking at each other in TNA, you know it's going to be good.
Yep, I remember because when I was watching TNA back before they did the whole JFW crap, so like 2012, 2013, 2011 kind of thing, I remember the episode where AJ Styles was TNA champion and he left for Japan, wrestling as the TNA champion in Japan, and then came back after and lost the belt to Samoa Joe. These guys are probably, I couldn't think of a better match to have for two guys that are already on the SmackDown main event scene for the WWE Championship. Now, excuse, who walks out of SummerSlam as the WWE Champion?
Ooh, I don't know. I really want to see Samoa Joe as the WWE Championship, but I'm pretty sure
You want to see Samoa Joe as the WWE Championship?
Yes, I want to see his face as the W. I also want to see him with the W around his waist, but I think WWE has a lot of stock in AJ Styles, and if I had to put money on it, a.k.a. pick, it's going to be AJ Styles.
Yeah. I'm going to say Samoa Joe.
I'd love to see this.
Now, here's what happens, right? Is back when you mentioned the whole Rusev thing being more of a Lana thing than it is a Rusev thing, if they restart a Rusev push with Samoa Joe as champion, Rusev versus Samoa Joe at Survivor Series for the WWE Championship.
I don't know about Survivor Series. I think that'd make an excellent Hell in a Cell match, though.
Are you talking in
Like the pay-per-view Hell in a Cell.
okay, but not a Hell in a Cell match?
Oh, it would be a Hell in a Cell match as well. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking it's more of a later on. But yes, if Samoa Joe was the championship, a Rusev match is a must-have.
Yeah.
And moving on to the least but most important championship.
Yeah.
It's the Universal title, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the umpteenth time. Scully, who you got?
Are you asking me who I think wins this match, or I think
Who do you got?
I got Roman Reigns?
I got Braun Strowman. He's not even there. He's taking it. My money's Braun Strowman cashes
Well,
in.
see what happens.
If I had to pick between
now,
the
if Braun
two,
Strowman, now are you saying Braun Strowman cashes in the middle of the match, making it a triple threat? Or
that's what I was thinking about. Is that he catches in, making it a triple threat after, let's say, Brock Lesnar destroys Roman, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But I'm also wondering if they're not going to reboot Survivor Series, where Roman wins the title for 5 minutes and 15 seconds and then cashes in.
I don't know.
Which leads to Roman being Universal Champion down the line, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen, but it's going to be... Honestly, if I were to book something now, I'd have Roman Reigns... If no one cashes in on SummerSlam, at SummerSlam on Sunday, which is going to happen, someone is going to cash in, but hypothetically, if somebody didn't, I would have a cash-in match, have like a Braun Strowman announce on the Raw Go Home show.
He's cashing in. This is save the date, be there, be square.
For the main event of Mania 35.
Yeah.
Therefore, putting Braun Strowman over as the new guy.
Well, you never know, because if a Raw person won the Royal Rumble, they'd have to make it a triple threat, wouldn't they?
Yeah, so.
Okay, I'm just establishing the rules here.
Yeah. But with all that being said, I stay true to my prediction. Kevin Owens leaves SummerSlam as the Universal Champion.
I stay true with Braun, but I'm just going to end this on a last note. If Roman Reigns is to win this belt, he needs the Shield to help him win this belt. Otherwise, he's getting booed out of the building.
Now, the only thing that I have to combat that is my heel turn prediction.
Exactly. If Dean Ambrose turns heel on Seth Rollins the night of SummerSlam, throw that out the window. But if they don't turn quite yet and Roman wins the championship without the Shield, why? Are they trying to get him booed? No, they're not. So put him with the Shield. It's not that hard. Anyways, that's our predictions for SummerSlam.
That is our prediction. Those are our predictions for SummerSlam. Do you want to do some takeover predictions actually as well?
Oh, I'm not as good as maybe after the commercial.
We don't actually. Do we have to cut to a commercial now? Might as well. When we come back from commercial break, we're going to be doing some NXT Takeover predictions. Once we have time to look over the card again, you're listening to CKDJ 1079. This is Wrestling with Ideas.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Adam Pacifi, and I'm your What Culture Pro Wrestling General Manager. You are listening to Wrestling with Ideas.
Welcome back inside the CKDJ studios for Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 1079, Ottawa's new music. Of course, I am the music man, Colin Scully. Alongside me, the man with the excuses, Jonathan Skews.
You didn't know? Well, your posterior better inform somebody at once. We're talking NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, 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 Brooklyn. Yo, yo, yo.
Of course, if you didn't know what that meant, he said Brooklyn 4 times, as this is NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4.
Actually, I said it 4 times as in the yo, 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 Papa Rolly and check your 40.
I know.
It's
I know.
prime time. But also, it is NXT Brooklyn TakeOver 4. I didn't plan that out. That's cool. First match on the card, Scully, Shayna Baszler, champion, versus Kairi Sane. What you got?
Shayna Baszler kicks Kairi Sane's ass in under 5 minutes.
Under 5 minutes? I think it's going to go a little bit more than 5 minutes. Maybe 7 or 8.
Okay, well, it's going to be under 10 for damn sure.
Under 10 minutes, I think Shayna Baszler is going to win.
Yep.
But you got to love the female Juice Robinson, Kairi Sane. I don't see why. I just said that to make my guy over here pop.
Now, is Kairi Sane the female Juice Robinson, or is Juice Robinson the male Kairi Sane?
Well, how old is which one? I'm pretty sure Kairi Sane's the youngest.
I would hope so.
There you go.
I don't know. Anyways, now...
North American title match.
Adam Cole versus Ricochet. This is probably going to be match of the night. Unless, of course, the NXT Championship takes the cake, which, let's face it probably will.
It might just. We might get a 6 stars.
Might get a 6 stars from your buddy. Anyways, Adam Cole versus Ricochet. Who do you have?
Adam Cole retains. Would be cool if Ricochet won. If Ricochet does win, look out. Adam Cole's coming up to the main roster.
Yep.
But I think Adam Cole retains. He looks really good with that belt and the way he won it. And then he came out and did his tag team at the end of that takeover, in which he won the North American Championship. I think they got a lot of stock in Adam Cole, and I think Adam Cole is going to retain.
Right. Keeping with the whole Undisputed Era theme of things, we've got Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong versus Mustache Mountain, consisted of Tyler Bate and Trent Seven.
Now, Adam Cole has a match. I'm pretty sure he's not going to be around. But do you think Bobby Fish is going to be there?
Yes.
And do you think he's going to get involved?
Yes.
And so you think Undisputed Era is going to win?
Yes. By DQ.
By DQ.
Which prompts Pete Dunne to come out and beat the crap out of Bobby Fish.
Oh, that would be so... Well, I don't think he'd do it to Bobby Fish. I think he'd do it to Roddy Strong.
I get maybe.
Because they had that little history together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a solid pick that Bobby Fish is there, and then they win via heelish ways, and then Pete Dunne comes out and...
Pete who?
Pete Dunne, Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne sounds like a crappy... Pete Dunne sounds like a name that would fit the Sandman.
Pete Dunne sounds like the Sandman's tag team partner.
Yeah. Sandman.
Sand Dune!
Oh, God.
Anyways, the next match that we know of at the moment is Velveteen Dream versus my homie EC3, Ethan Carter the third, but don't call him Dixie. His nephew.
Yeah. Now, I am a huge fan of Dream here.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of EC3 here. This is the one match that I actually don't have a prediction for. It could go either way.
Could go either way. I want my homie EC3 to win, and so because of that, I'm a little biased towards EC3, but I think NXT is kind of giving Velveteen Dream the push to be the next North American or NXT champion, and for that reason, I think Velveteen Dream's going to win this match.
So
but
do
I, at the same time, I personally want EC3 to do all the things I said they were going to do to Velveteen Dream. Give them the push. EC3 is the next NA or NXT champion. Yeah. Speaking of NXT championship, for the fifth time, much like Brock, Roman, but I actually want to watch this one.
Yeah.
We got Tommaso Ciampa, champion, versus Johnny Gargano in a last man standing match.
Now, I feel like most of their matches as of late have really more or less been last man standing matches.
Pretty much.
Like without actually being last man standing matches.
Like they don't get up at the call to 10 because they're down and out, but you could easily have booked it as a last man standing match. Yeah. I think they're running out of stipulations, and rather than do something stupid like put something on a pole, they're going to have a last man standing match, and it's going to be awesome. And I think that Ciampa is going to retain, because I think it's a little too soon to put the title on Gargano.
Yeah.
But I think that Tommaso Ciampa is going to retain. It's going to be match of the night. And who knows, maybe Gargano's coming up now. I think because before I don't mean to cut you off, but what I was thinking is that Gargano's going to lose after SummerSlam. He's going to come up to Mania, and then maybe after come up to the main roster, and after Mania, Ciampa's going to come up and be like, "Hey Johnny, remember me?" And then they're going to have this big kind of like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens did.
Yeah, I can see that. That would be.
And because it's Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, nothing against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I think that they're going to book it a little better because they've seen what happened to Kevin and Sami, how we got tired of it real quick.
Right. But because we know what it's like, because this feud really started in WWE.
Yes.
Or they really started teaming in WWE, if you will.
Exactly. So who do you have in this match?
I don't know. I personally think that it's too early to call Gargano up. Really?
Well, isn't he going to the cruiserweight division?
If Johnny Gargano goes to the cruiserweight
I'd say
division,
that'd be a waste.
No, if Johnny Gargano goes to the cruiserweight division, I will stop watching WWE.
I think that I agree that will be a waste, but isn't he under 205?
I think he might actually just be over by a bit. No, he's at 199.
Exactly.
God
but then again, we don't talk about Finn Balor's weight either, so.
Yeah. Well,
as long as they don't say it when he comes down to the ring, he's not a cruiserweight.
Yeah. Which I think that they're starting to move away from saying the wrestlers' weights.
Well, that's because they don't want people to say, well, if he weighs under 205, why isn't he in the cruiserweight division, pal?
Yeah. Like they're doing with Finn Balor. They've stopped saying his weight completely.
Well, yeah, because you look at him and you're like, that guy's a cruiserweight.
Yeah. I'm going to go Tommaso Ciampa retains as well.
Good pick.
Because Tommaso Ciampa versus Aleister Black is a feud that I want to see.
Yeah, that's going to be Aleister Black. I think is going to be his last one before he goes up. I thought he was going to come up after SummerSlam, but there's this injury talk that I think he might be a little bit later, and he might stick in NXT for a couple more months.
Right. I don't know. Now, if Aleister ends up, do you think Aleister has another reign as champion?
No, but I think if Aleister is involved, he's costing Johnny the match to get his one-on-one with Tommaso.
Yeah.
Because Gargano will have the pin or something, and then you'll hear his music fade to black. Then Tommaso rolls up Tommaso rolls up himself. Yeah, right. Tommaso rolls up
himself.
Tommaso rolls up Johnny, realizes it's not a pinfall because I can't read. And then last man standing, let's say, I don't know, he dumps something on Johnny, can't get up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tommaso wins.
It's almost like Tommaso gets himself stuck in a paradise lock or something like that. Anyways, now we move to the last segment before the interview with Dr. Bob, your commentator of choice. We've got, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, our top 5
moments, not matches, of Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Because some of these aren't exactly matches that he was in, but he was around.
Right.
So our first match is a match that I picked, and it's Jim Neidhart in WCW versus a young upstart Chris Jericho. What can't be said for Chris Jericho?
In WCW.
Or at all, in my opinion, but exactly as an upstart, he was rock solid. Jim Neidhart here, doing the job for him, making him look like $1 million.
Yeah.
I can't discredit that, and because I'm a big Jericho fan, of course it makes the list. Now we've got this one another WCW match that Colin will be more into and know about. I have here written Tenzin and Chono. Go away, take it away, Colin.
Now this would be a match that Gibby would mark out heavy for.
Yo, Gibby, if you're listening, pal, settle down.
Yeah, Hiroyoshi Tenzin and Masa Chono, who are currently the IWGP Tag Team Champions, facing off against the Hart Foundation. The Hart Foundation winning by DQ, so they do not win the belts here, but this still was one of the best matches. This still was one of my favorite tag matches that happened in WCW. Now, a quick little thing before we move on to our next moment here is that this is right at the height of when Bobby Heenan was bringing in all of his Japanese friends.
Yes.
Moving on to the next match, John.
Who? Yes, actually, out of left field. We brought it up in the first thing. When you're talking about a guy's career, you got to talk about his ups as well as his downs. And what the heck kind of a down is being billed as a wrestler named who?
I don't know. Personally, I would have liked to see Who versus Oz.
Who-ah? As a tag team?
Who-ahs.
Who-ah! The Who-ahs! Oh, Who-ahs into big hurrahs. Our next moment is when Jim the Anvil Neidhart helped his brother-in-law, Owen Hart, to win the 1994 King of the Ring.
That's probably one of my favorite Hart Foundation moments. Definitely.
That is a really good feel-good Hart moment. That is a real feel-good Owen Hart moment. It's a nice feel-good moment, even though he's kind of a little heelish.
Yeah.
But Owen Hart getting what he deserves as King of the Ring. And last thing that we'd like to mention is any time, especially when they first won, where Jim and Brett were a tag team, just the two of them as the Hart Foundation. Especially when they won their first title reign. Yeah. You look at Jim Neidhart and you don't think that guy's ever going to hold a belt, but you put him next to Bret Hart and he gets to hold a belt, and I think that's pretty awesome.
Now, of course, this isn't to say, there was a match in 1995, I think, where they lost to Brian Knobbs.
Yeah, and Jerry Sags, the Nasty Boys, and whenever I was looking through the moments that we could pick from and I saw that they lost to the Nasty Boys, I kind of had to take a breather for a minute because... for those of you who don't know, the Nasty Boys, Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags, basically had a job because Hulk Hogan liked them.
Right. Oh, the Nasty Boys are giving...
the Nasty Boys
are giving me a bit of a cough here. Looks like I might have to go and talk to my doctor. That's right. Coming up next after this commercial break, we go to our full-length interview with Dr. Bob. This is Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9.
Hey, this is Bob Backlund. You're looking at Wrestling with Ideas.
inside the CKDJ studios right here for Wrestling with Ideas on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music. As always, I am your host, Colin the Music Man Scully. And on the phone with me today, we've got host of Doctor's Orders right here on Wrestling with Ideas. You got your commentator of choice, Dr. Bob. Bobby, how's it going today?
I'm doing well, Colin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Now, I hate to start interviews off with some sad news, but
Right.
it was announced earlier this week that Jim the Anvil Neidhart had passed away at the age of 63. Now, at the time of this recording, news is still just breaking, so no one's really sure what happened just yet. But first question for you, Dr. Bob, talk sort of about the legacy that Jim leaves behind.
Well, especially with myself as a Canadian wrestling fan and growing up in seeing the majority of my wrestling in the 90s, really, when I was a teenager and such. The Hart Foundation itself was so big, and even prior to the larger Hart Foundation with Owen Bulldog and Pillman, the Hart Foundation, of course, was Jim and Brett, and later on together with Jimmy Hart as well, and that kind of solidified Brett as becoming the standout Canadian wrestler in the world, and none of that could have been possible without Jim. Jim was always seen as a more charismatic guy, especially at the beginning. It really helped elevate his brother-in-law, and Jim himself. As a singles wrestler, I don't have as many fond memories or pertinent memories, really, but, I mean, as a tag team wrestler and then later as part of that whole stable, absolutely influential. For somebody like me, who the Hart Foundation versus America / Stone Cold Steve Austin / HBK kind of feud went on, that was really the pivotal moment in me going, oh my God, this wrestling stuff is really, really cool. I mean, that for anybody my age, a little bit older and everything, who got to live through that live, that Hart Foundation kind of pro-Canada, anti-America feud and angle was just absolutely some groundbreaking TV. I don't think they've tried to replicate here in WCW, WWE with the Un-Americans and such, and Lance Storm's group, but I mean, haven't really struck lightning. Again, it's always been with that Hart Foundation. So yeah, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, absolutely a seminal point in kind of wrestling history, especially for us Canadians.
Right. Now, I've been going back and watching all the old pay-per-views and just seeing his style of wrestling and how he worked with Bret Hart. I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon at all, really.
I remember someone bringing up a conversation and comparison with like Generico and Steen once they started getting big in ROH, and to say, like, look at these two, both Canadians, of course, look at these two, or quasi-Mexican. Look at the combination of styles that you have in terms of they each complement each other so well. They're such different entities, but together, they move seamlessly, and you can kind of see that symbiosis between the two. And the same with Brett and Anvil. Anvil's always a powerhouse. Brett was more of the technical wrestler, and you can see that the two really complement each other well, and even in their finisher. Look at it. Anvil picks him up, it does the heavy lifting, Brett with the finesse and the clothesline / kind of reverse bulldog type thing. And it was such a mix between these two, and Jimmy Hart obviously playing the mouthpiece too, but Anvil could hold his own. He was such a charismatic, crazy guy, and when you looked at him, you're like, yeah, I mean, of course he has to be a pro wrestler. What else could this guy be? Right. He did some strongman competitions, all that stuff too before. I know he got his name from actually like winning a competition throwing an anvil, a long distance, a height, all that stuff. But like, you look at him, you're like, that is the quintessential 80s, 90s pro wrestler. Absolutely.
Right. So rest in peace, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. The only remaining member left of the Hart Foundation now is Bret Hart. But keeping with the theme of Canadian wrestling and really shifting over to a local sort of thing, there's a lot of local shows coming up that are very important to the Ottawa wrestling scene. So on August 24th, that's right, Fighting Back Wrestling with Cancer 8 will be taking place at St. Anthony's Banquet Hall. Now, for those of our listeners who haven't been to a Fighting Back or don't know the story of Fighting Back, you've been around C4 and the Ottawa wrestling scene for a while now. What's the story behind Fighting Back?
Well, I've been part of Fighting Back in terms of commentating, helping out playing music for a few years now as well. And Fighting Back came about from another deceased wrestler here, Frank Morey, who was beloved in the local scene in the Ontario and Quebec scene. He was friends with a lot of people, actually tagged in I believe the name was Triforce, with Player Uno and Player Dos Stupefy back then, now under different monikers, of course, but they were all best of friends and had that trio together. All that to say that Frank passed very early in his life from complication of cancer, and Fighting Back was made to honor him, obviously to raise money for everyone else in the world who's been affected by this, especially in Canada, since the money goes to the Canadian Cancer Society. But really, you'll see him on all the posters. He's the man with the hat that you'll see drawn out in caricatures and such. And so that was made for him. This is the 8th year. We've been able to raise tens of thousands of dollars for the Canadian Cancer Society in his memory. And each year they try to bring out bigger and better, huge guests. You and I, we've actually seen the Ultimo Dragon on tape here. And this year we'll have, the guy, the number one indie guy, I would say, arguably, in the entire world, Jeff Cobb. He's going to be facing off Josh Alexander, and that's going to be, two big, very proficient, capable wrestlers here that, combine that speed, strength, all that stuff with that technical acumen. It's going to be a match that, everyone's going to be talking about. So you got to be there for Friday, August 24th. You got an over-the-top Fighting Back Invitational, which happens every year. There's different rules, but this year is going to be a Rumble-style over-the-top, and we're going to have the champion Kofi Durst in that as well, winning a number one contendership for the title. And also just announced this week, Vanessa Craven versus Alexia Nicole for the Femme Fatale title. Vanessa Craven, obviously in Ottawa, beat Mercedes Martinez in the Femme Fatale return show, one of the loudest ovations I've ever heard live as well. And so that's going to be quite a match. Those three announced, a lot more coming. August 24th, they always raise money for a great cause. 100% of the proceeds go to them. So, of course, it's not just one of these $5 off of every ticket or 10% of your ticket cost. It's going to really be, everything's going towards the Canadian Cancer Society, and what a show it's going to be. Yeah.
Right. Now, just talking about the, you brought up Vanessa Craven specifically. Both her and Mercedes Martinez are competing in the Mae Young Classic, the WWE Mae Young Classic. What does it mean in terms of exposure for the Ottawa and Montreal wrestling scene? Because I know Vanessa's mainly Montreal and around there. What does it mean for the scene in terms of exposure that two of the top, or Vanessa Craven and Mercedes Martinez, both top stars on the independent scene? What does it mean in terms of exposure for the Montreal scene?
Well, Mercedes, I don't think Mercedes will be Fighting Back right now, but she'll be in, obviously, in other Femme Fatale shows. But Vanessa Craven especially, I'd say, and you say Montreal, but I mean, she's had quite a run here at Acclaim. She's had quite a run at C4, been in top angles and top feuds with some huge, obviously not just female talent, but male talent as well. And so Vanessa Craven being at the forefront of women's wrestling right now in terms of being able to, compete at the Mae Young Classic, having her face across the entire network, and, just being able to see her talent there, it's a huge boon for wrestling. People will pick it up and go, hey, I know that person's name. These tournaments that they've been having have elevated talent. I mean, look at how big Mustache Mountain and Pete Dunne have been across the entire world, where, the names were, I'd say, primarily in Europe at one point, but as soon as the WWE UK tournament came out, they were everywhere. I hope for the same things and same opportunities for Vanessa Craven. I mean, if she doesn't get signed, especially, her name will be everywhere, and if she does get signed, great for her. Happy. I personally know her as well. I've been able to commentate some of the matches, see her at a lot of the shows too. Great person. Wish her the best. And as for wrestling, it's going to do nothing but help the scene in terms of having that exposure and getting people excited to do the shows. And if you've ever seen her live, you know exactly what you're expecting. Just a rocket show. She's one of the fan favorites everywhere she goes.
Yeah, I'll never forget the first time that I saw her wrestle. It was back at C4's They Live, and she was in, I think it was a tag team match. It was her and Stu Grayson versus Evil Uno and the Beast King FTM. And as soon as she came out, to make her entrance, I knew that there's something special with her.
Yeah. You hear that crowd; they react to her. I mean, it's a great cross section of fans, like all ages, both genders, and just being able to kind of gravitate towards her because she's such a likable person in terms of getting behind her and cheering her on, and you can't help but just cheer and be invested in all her matches for sure.
Right. Now, shifting sort of towards the Montreal side of things, the day after, on Friday the 25th of August.
We're making it a Wrestle Weekend.
Exactly. We're heading down to both shows there. Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling have their Super Gala, have a big wrestling show
on August 25th. Yeah.
Yep. Now, main event on this card here has the Dominator Dom Boulanger defending his British Commonwealth Championship against Stéphane Paulson. What does it mean for Torture Chamber to have the British Commonwealth Championship under their sort of superstars there?
Well, any NWA belt comes with a lot of prestige in terms of the name recognition that, hardcore fans have. NWA tops everything. The WWE and NWA have been the two most prominent feds and just in name recognition across the years. And so to have something like that happen, main event here at Torture Chamber is quite a thing. Dom Boulanger is coming in a wave of momentum. He won that title. It's going to be his defense against Stéphane Paulson, who's already tried to wrest that title away. And you've had interviews with both these individuals, right? Yeah, and then you can just see the passion. You can hear the invigoration they have for wrestling in their voice. These two live, sleep, breathe professional wrestling. And although they have very different sort of, I would say, background/styles and different sort of outlooks on it, the motivation there is to be the best. I have seen both of these guys over the last year plus, seeing them live month after month grow, and it's such a crazy thing to see these two guys who I think have grown in confidence as well, not only just skill, but in confidence over the last year. Now, main event, something as big as the Super Gala de Lutte. I'm really looking forward to that match. Of course, on the rest of the card as well, of course, at that 10-125 Rue Parthenet, Loisirs Saint-Martyr Canadien. Look it up on Facebook. I hope to pack that place. It's bigger than our monthly shows that we have, the Showcase Sundays that are held on Sundays. This one will be on a Saturday. And, recommending everybody come out to see it. We have other big matches, too. Justin Turnbull versus Brad Alexis, two of my favorite guys to see live. Lightweight championship from the NW for the Torture Chamber, new title here. The lightweight championship. Kevin Bryan, the dastardly Kevin Bryan, defending against one of the best high flyers in the entire world, bar none, Puebla Victor from Spain. He's made a lot of appearances, traveling all the way from Europe and Spain to come, fight the best here at Torture Chamber. And Victor's always the flea, is always, just quicker than a hiccup. Also, one of the main attractions here are all the new talent that's starting. There are a lot of rookie trainees from the Torture Chamber who are making their mark. And, this is the genesis of something great. These are the first steps you'll see of guys who are going to be main eventing in years to come, who are going to become names in the indie circuit. This is the first steps. And there's nothing more exciting than seeing, somebody come from nothing to make a name of themselves. You've seen some of that watching wrestling,
right.
Even in the WWE. You see somebody come in, make his debut, not really well known, and then a year from now, 2 years from now, they're on WrestleMania. How cool is that to say I was one of the first to be cheering on this individual?
Right.
Well, we have guys here
from Ottawa.
From Ottawa. A whole bunch from Montreal, because that's where Torture Chamber trains, but specifically from Ottawa, you know them well too.
Yeah.
There's going to be Brandon Leduc going to be on that show. There's going to be Riley as well. I'm still waiting for a last name on that. But Riley as well. They'll both be debuting. Big matches for both of them. More announcements to come online, I assume. And, even some of my local guys and local favorites over there in Montreal are going to be on it. A lot of their debuts as well. You'll see some women's wrestling. You'll see some singles tag matches. Another one of my guys that I've seen train for a long time, Caden Rose, will be wrestling for the tag team titles, the NWA Canadian tag team titles, making his debut. And I wish Riley, Brandon, say what?
So I was just I in my interview last week with Drew.
Yeah.
I had announced I was going through the card and asking him for his thoughts.
Are you correcting me on a few things here?
I'm not sure. I'm just asking you if there's been an update, because when I asked Drew, he had said that as of right now, the tag team titles aren't on the line. But in Drew's words, if Team Tight keep running their mouths, the Bone Collectors might up the stakes a little bit and put the titles on the line. So I'm just wondering if there's been an announcement there.
That's all psychological stuff. I'm sure he'll make a decision at the day of over there, perhaps, see how much the taunting, see how much of that psychological warfare is going on. But Drew and, Crazy Mike Marston, they're fighters. They will put those titles on the line, and they'll take on the biggest and baddest. As much as they do trash talk, they back it up. Obviously, they back up their words. So, if they don't put the title on the line, it'll still be a great match. If they do, which I hope so, the fans will like it even more. I mean, who doesn't want to see a tag team title match on the show? Yeah, and, I know Riley and Brandon really well. We've been doing a lot of stuff in the local scene in Ottawa for years now, and, I've seen the dedication, how many hours they put into traveling, training, all that stuff, and I really hope them the best. They should have great showings, both of them, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with them, and this might be the first few steps to them becoming, recognized TV talent soon.
That'd be insane, just seeing guys that I've worked alongside, especially like on Ring Crew for the C4 shows. Seeing them on TV, like, I don't know.
It'd be great to see them. I mean,
yeah,
with how hot the indie scene is getting and all the talent coming up and everything too.
And with Torture Chamber having the WWE affiliation that they do as well.
All that stuff coming up, and that's not to say less about the rest of the card there, but those are definitely like 5-6 of my matches I'm most looking forward to. So check it out on Facebook. Check out all the rest of the information there. I really hope to pack that place out. I'll be doing commentary on there with everyone's good friend Zach Giblet. Yeah,
Giblet. Zach the Chicken Giblet.
Zach the Chicken Giblets. We're going to be doing that one and rocking it out. I'll obviously be on commentary for part or all. Not sure yet if we're fighting back 8 as well. So my calendar is getting full for the end of August and in September.
At the end of September.
Sorry, go ahead.
At the end of September, there's ISW presents Slamtasia 6. Now the main event
here,
the main event here is a title match. It's for the undisputed King of Crazy Championship, pitting Chris Dickinson against Addy Starr. Now, as somebody who's not
of a match,
as somebody who's not,
I'm not going to swear online right now, but one heck of a match,
As somebody who's not been to an ISW show yet, but I look to be making it out probably to this one actually.
I hope to see you there.
Yeah. What do fans expect, or what can fans expect from going to this show?
Well, ISW is always a crazy time. I mean, they've had some matches that have gone into infamy, like the food fight that they had.
Right.
They've pioneered the Lego Death Match, which now has been brought all over the world. So they've retired that stipulation officially, I guess. The Lego will still once make it in, but it's just that so many feds all across the world now, it's made its way all over to Europe too, have been using it, but they're the ones who started it. The ISW King of Crazy Championship, actually, interesting enough, Dickinson's been champ for, I'd say, nearly 4 years now, because of a little break in between for ISW, but Dickinson has been defending it, and, he's obviously what a star he is now on Evolve, on NXT, winning championships all over the place, a globally recognized name now. And Addy Starr was the King of Crazy, and I guess she nicknamed the championship the Queen of Crazy. And she lost it over to Sanchez, Pinky Sanchez formerly, who then lost it to Dickinson. So Addy Starr was formerly a champion, and she's looking to get her title back. The ISW cards are always crazy. Last time, it was a change of venue the first time in Kanawaki, their big return to Canada and the record Canadian tennis. You saw so many interactive things in the Toy Box Death Match, the Toy Box of Doom match. It was just insane the things that people are still talking about now. So Child's Play was last time. Slamtasia 6 is happening. We've got tag team titles matches with TDT versus Jim Nasty. We've got Falls Count Everywhere title, the new title that Eddie is going to be defending versus Dolph Jones, Sugar Dunkerton, and Sanchez. You got talent from all over the place, from Europe with Addy Starr, from the Americas or from the United States rather, Sugar Dunkerton, Jim Nasty, a bunch all over the place, Ontario, Quebec, and it's going to be this amalgamation of a lot of talents from everywhere. Dickinson and Addy Starr have wrestled previously, and I've got to say, if you look at it online, you don't have to blame me. You can go check it on YouTube, but they have, I want to say it's maybe the second or third, top 5 for sure, but almost second or third most viewed match on YouTube, wrestling match in history.
Dickinson and Addy Starr.
They have 71 million views. It was a WSU / Beyond sort of cooperation, mostly under the WSU brand, I believe. And they had 71 views. The only ones that have been, I believe, on last checking, something like a high 70s for a WWE title match of the 41-man Battle Royal match one time. And then there's another one from Tribute to the Troops that has about 70 million views. And so, like, search around. It's top 5, probably even top 3 wrestling matches, most viewed wrestling matches of all time. Chris Dickinson, Addie Starr, you can check that out to see, add up to that 71 million number here there, but you can see what to expect. They've wrestled many times before. Addie Starr, on the losing end most of those spots, she gives it her all, and Chris Dickinson, he's out for blood. These two are completely different wrestlers than they were previously. They've upped their game, they've upped their violence, they've upped their skill. Addie Starr obviously bringing that Lego death match over to the UK, wrestling, world-renowned names like Evil Uno and Jimmy Havoc while she was there too. And Chris Dickinson showing up on TV and pay-per-views and everything everywhere. But it's going to be a heck of a battle. The rest of the card too will be insane. And September 29th, Slam Taser 6, Kanawagi. Come check it out. I'll be doing all the ring announcing that night, potentially some commentary as well. And, you're going to get your money's worth. Come on out for that show.
Yeah. Now, a little bit further down the line as well, in Kingston, Ontario, Chinlock Wrestling is having their bigger show. Now, there are some names that WWE fans of the last 10 years or so, and of the last 30 years or so, will recognize that are scheduled to be appearing on this at this show here. First being Tito Santana.
Yep.
Nothing else needs to be said there. He's Tito Santana.
I mean, Tito Santana, what a legend, absolute legend in professional wrestling.
Competed in the first ever King of the Ring, as well as competed in the first ever match at the opening match of the first ever WrestleMania.
Yes, sir.
Looking to get him on at some point very soon for an interview to ask him.
I am looking forward to that. You interviewing Tito Santana will be one heck of an interview. Yeah.
As well, definitely. I can't wait. As well, Tyson Kidd, also known as TJ Wilson, will be making an appearance there. The current WWE producer.
He won't be wrestling that night.
He won't be wrestling
because of his injury, and I guess he's done with in-ring competition. But that man brings so much knowledge and of WWE, backstage producer rather, and just having wrestled. I think one of the Hart family's proteges here, not directly in the lineage, but married to Jim Neidhart, and just knowing all about that, getting trained and groomed over there, becoming one of the most recognizable Canadian wrestling names in the entire world right now. So that's going to be quite a sight.
It will be. And the next big name to be making an appearance at Chinlock Wrestling, one of the most infamous managers of the PG era. We've got Vicky
Manager,
Guerrero,
GM, all that stuff. Yeah,
manager, GM, even occasional wrestler. Definitely,
that was not the highlight.
Definitely, Vicky Guerrero was more known for her being GM and.
When was the last WrestleMania she was in too?
The last which? Sorry.
Was the last WrestleMania she was in? Was it 2 or 3 years ago? The one with Battle Royal.
I can't remember, but
she almost stole the show there with her screaming in her.
Yeah, was that? That was at the. And she was also in the first ever women's Royal Rumble back in January.
Yeah.
That was as soon as she came out. Excuse me. I'm like, oh, come on.
I lost it. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was great. Now,
funny enough, actually, I have an 8x10 from her. I ordered during the PWT special, Pro Wrestling T special.
Oh, yeah?
That mystery 8x10 coming from a wrestler to the autograph. I'm like, oh, great. It comes in. I'm like, oh, that's Vicky. That's totally not what I expected.
Yeah. All right. I know you're at work right now. I know you're on your lunch, so I'm going to let you go. If you want, do you have any other small little plugs you want to throw in here before we end this off?
Chinlock's going to be 100% charitable. They've raised last year alone $26,000. I really want everybody from Fighting Back to Chinlock, all these charitable organizations, to really draw a lot of money in. I really, really hope for it. I've been part of, the indie scene since 2015 and helping them out, commentary since 2016, and I've seen it grow by leaps and bounds, even the last 3 years. I've been going to shows for nearly 12 years now, indie shows, but seeing crowds grow, seeing things like charity shows just raise so much more money, it's been amazing to see, and I really applaud all the fans for putting their all and supporting the shows. Keep on doing it, whether it be C4, Torture Chamber, ISW, anybody from NSCW, APW, all the other organizations and feds out there. Keep on supporting your wrestlers. The scene's going to keep on growing. Support these charity shows. The money raised, definitely makes a difference, and definitely is one of the great things and that's happening with indie wrestling right now all over the world, really. And hope to see you all there. Dr. Bob appreciates all your support too. I have a Facebook, Dr. Bob, your commentary choice. You can follow me on Twitter, Dr. Bob Commentary. You can see me at shows. I'm very approachable. We'll see what merch I have for sale later, but we'll talk about that.
We're gonna be getting wrestling is the best thing.
I hope to really be on all your rings and all your DVDs for years to come. Thank you very much, Colin, for having me on today.
No problem. Now throwing things straight over to our G1 wrap up with Ethan Renner. This is CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music.
Hey everyone, this is CCO Pierre Colwell, and you're listening to Wrestling with Ideas at TCO.
We're not the Mounties. We're handsome, we're brave, we're strong. We're not the Mounties, 'cause we enforce the law. You can try to run, but you can never hide. Unlike the Mounties, we always get our man. We're not the Mounties. We're handsome, we're brave,
Welcome
we're
back
strong.
inside the CKDJ studios right here for Wrestling with Ideas on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music. We're going to end things off right now. Just a little bit of a housekeeping couple of notes here. First thing we would like to announce, he's not here right now, but the man with no excuses will be joining Wrestling with Ideas as a full-time co-host for the next little bit. It's going to be interesting to see what myself and him and whoever may else want to come onto the show will get up to. Secondly, I managed to sort everything out with the podcast in terms of the feeds and how you can download and how you can listen to the show. Managed to get everything there sorted out. So as of this week, you should still be able to find everything anywhere you get your podcast now that we're back on Podbean. Lastly, make sure to go check out my G1 wrap-up where I talk to the Wrestling Observer's Ethan Renner. You can follow me on Twitter at Colin capital TMM. You can follow Jonathan on Twitter at No Excuse. That is capital NO, capital EX, S, capital SKUCE. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Wrestling Capital W Ideas. You can check us out anywhere you get your podcasts, but mainly on wrestlingwithIdeas.podbean.com. And also stay tuned to the Twitter account because we're going to be, or stay tuned to the wrestlingwithideas.com as I'm going to be doing some more blogging stuff along those lines. Thank you guys for listening, and as always, have a good one.